thank you to everyone here. Thanks to everyone at the head table. Thanks to Colin, who has been talking me through the trip here and getting to do this with Julie. And I just have to say how impressed I am, what an impressive organization that this is, and what you do to really change people's lives and build their lives. That just can't be quantified. And I'm sure all of us have had someone in our life that has helped to move our life forward or move our life in the direction we were trying to go. And you have done that for so many people. So I know I'm very impressed, and I know this lady's very impressed too.
Very impressed. Nate's speech was really tough to follow, Nate, so I was hoping you'd mess up a little bit, but you're awesome. And Dick Conley and his family for what they've done and how they supported it. And look at this group here tonight. It's an amazing fund. It's an amazing thing how you can change people's lives and just a little bit. And you look at Nate, what a great young man, and I'm looking for big things for him.
So Nate, I'm the mom of a son, so I feel a special little thing in my heart for the life you've had and the life you're about to have. So you're gonna be a good man, I'm sure. Julie Inkster is my great friend. We've had some great good times together, and I think I've worked out a new name for her. She's a magnet for people, and I know that this group here loved Arnold Palmer, and that's what Arnold Palmer's great gift was. He was a magnet for people, and as much as you liked him, he liked you, and he was interested in everything you did. And that is Julie Inkster to a T. She draws people in, and people can't help but like her and can't help but love her. And then the fact that she's a very talented woman makes it even more special. There is a picture up right now, I think, somewhere that is telling you that the last time that we worked together in...
right here,
yeah,
right in front of us.
We were very close in Spain doing the Solheim Cup last year. With a couple of our very good buds. And we had a great time, and we kind of played off of each other. I told her we were Mutt and Jeff. She said, I'm Mutt, so that's all I can tell you. But on one more side note, personally, Julie and I have been friends for a long time, but we became really good friends, really, more so in the last decade. And so 12 years ago, I lost my husband, who was, you can imagine, a huge part of my life and a huge part of my golf life, a huge part of, the person who had your back all the time. And she knew my husband pretty well, but, she started calling me, pretty often, which was not necessarily the case. And she would call me and she'd say, how you doing? How's it going? Are you making it okay? And this and that. So with all the gregariousness of Julie Inkster, there's a kindness thread that is extremely sincere, and she's a very caring person.
Can we quit right now?
Yes. That's like that contest that I heard one time on the radio about the best prayer.
Yeah.
And so this is the best prayer that won. This was on the radio in my hometown of Midland, Texas. The prayer that won was, Dear Lord, please let me be the person that my dog thinks I am. So there we go.
That's a good one.
Quit.
That was a good one.
All right. So Julie is obviously was a player on the LPGA Tour a generation after my playing, and I mostly got to watch her as I was doing television coverage and so on. And I think you've heard all of the wonderful things she's won and the wonderful things that she has done, but we're going to try to delve into a little bit of how it came to be. Your very first memory of golf?
Selling golf balls that people lost in the canyons on number 13 and 14 at Pass Tiempo and Lemonade, and watching these golfers go down the fairway.
Did you ever caddy?
I never caddied. I was more of a range picker-upper and a cart sweeper.
I picked up the range
Yeah.
in Key Largo,
I
Florida.
actually tipped the range cart over once, too, and couldn't
nice.
get out.
I was doing it with a picker.
Oh.
I'm a generation before you,
Yeah.
yes.
Did you have a covered wagon that brought you out there? No, okay. Just find out.
This is the part where we, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you have a friend like that, right? No matter
Yeah.
what they say, you get over it.
Yeah.
One thing that you had in common with Francis Ouimet, your parents were not much into the game. Your dad played a little bit, but really not into the game, much like his parents. And I wish you'd talk for just a minute about parents in the game today, parents who maybe do sometimes a little more than they should do, parents who have the passion and maybe the child doesn't get to grow their passion. I'll let you go.
Yeah, so, I started playing golf when I was 15, got a job at the golf course. Just kind of fell into the game, never really aspired to be LPGA pro, or I really didn't even know what that was. Once I had two older brothers, very athletic. My dad played professional baseball for a few years in the minor leagues. So I was a jock. I was a tomboy. I love sports. I was way better at baseball than any of those other kids that played, but I couldn't play. My dad had a batting cage in the backyard, and I would spend hours hitting balls in the batting cage. But I got into golf, just kind of fell into it, got some clubs from the back room, and I started playing. And it's funny, I got a good friend here from high school, Tim Hart. I don't know where you are, Tim, but he lived across the fairway from me. We live on the 14th fairway. He lived on the 13 green, and he was a really good golfer, played all the time, and there were a lot of boys at the golf course that played, and that's, as a girl, why not go up there and play golf with the boys? I mean, it was a win-win. And so basically the golf coach at Harbor High, a guy named Floyd Slider, found out that I was playing golf, and he called my parents and asked if I'd go out for the boys' golf team. And I said, yeah. And so I made JV my sophomore year. But I fell in love. I played before school, after school, and then my junior and senior year, I made varsity. But going into my freshman year of college, San Jose State offered me a partial scholarship for golf. And my dad was a fireman. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. And there was a little entry form in the women's locker room said U.S. Women's Open qualifying. And so I rode my bike home, and I asked my parents if I could try to qualify for the Women's Open. It was in Fresno, which is like 2 hours and 15 minutes from my house. And it was in June, which is smoking. It's like 102, 103. And my parents said, sure. My dad had the day off. He caddied for me. I shot the lowest score I ever shot. I shot 72. I've never shot 72 in my life. And I qualified for the U.S. Open. And it was in Indianapolis, Indiana. And we were driving home, and my parents thought I was asleep. And my dad's name's Jack, and my mom goes, all right, Jack, now what do we do? So the club was great. They rallied up some money. They got me a plane ticket back there. I stayed in private housing, showed up at the U.S. Open. I went back by myself. It was really one of the first times I've ever been, well, it was the first time I'd ever been out of California, but one of the first times I've ever been on an airplane. And I shot 80 my first round, but the great story was if you play in a USGA event, they have brand new Titleists on the range. And, all my golf balls I found from hacks like you guys in the canyons. And I would, I'd find those, and that's who I played with. Well, brand new Titleist, so I'd hit a couple, and I'd put one in my bag, and hit a couple, and put one in my bag. And I came home with a full thing of brand new Titleists. It said practice on them, but I was not proud. I played them. But that was my parents, you know. My dad was kind of a girl's dad before there was a girl's dad. He was super supportive in anything I wanted to do, and you know, and they kind of really just they were very what's the word I'm looking for? Help me, Judy.
Supportive.
Supportive. Very supportive, but without being a hovercraft. And, you know, when I got on the LPGA, they would come to some tournaments, and they would show up on Thursday morning. And then if I played good, they would stay after. And if I played bad, they knew that it needed to get out of there. So, and that's kind of the way I grew up. I grew up with them being super supportive, but really letting me do my own thing.
Well, I think we all know that there are some parents, probably that it has always been this way, but certainly a little more visibly today, are a little maybe too involved in their child's golf and their child's competitive golf and so on. We have some friends, this is a very short story, but Julie and I have friends who have started a program in Texas called Caddies for Kids. And without boring you with it, I will just tell you that it's a great program that they get high school kids to caddy for kids under 13 years old in competitive events. Those high school kids, much like what you do here, only no one does this to the scale you do it, can earn golf scholarships through that effort. And I think the high school kids mentoring the kids under 13 years old is a really great project. So these things are all around the country. I guess, as I said, no one does anything like what you do. So you go on to San Jose State, and you play college golf, and a man enters your life when you're like 16, starts teaching you golf.
Yeah, so Brian, my husband, I don't think anybody thinks we're married, but we actually are married. He was the assistant pro at the club when I was working up there, and it was kind of a club where I'm sure a lot of you guys have clubs where everybody does everything together. I mean, from the cart staff to the assistant pros to the head pros, and we always did. You know, we always played really late in the afternoon. We did pizza parties. My parents were great. They always had the whole staff over for dinner. And so we did everything together. And I was going into my freshman year in college, and you know, Brian was always a really good friend, and of course became more. And he was super lucky.
You know,
and he'd probably say right now how lucky he is.
Yeah, he told me that tonight already.
But 43 years later, we're still married, and
they
it's
said
awesome.
it wouldn't last.
Yeah.
So I know everybody has heard over and over and over that Tiger Woods won 3 U.S. amateurs. But you know who won 3 U.S. amateurs before Tiger Woods? Juli Inkster. And I made one of my major slip-ups in television as I was talking about Juli on TV one time early on, and I said, and when she won those amateurs, she was still Julie Simpson. And Brian, I don't know how big your family is, or the members of your former club that you're retired from, but I cannot tell you how many people I heard from that said, no, she was not Julie Simpson, she was Juli Inkster when she won those 3 amateurs.
Yeah.
So,
well, if Brian was up here right now, he said I was nothing before I came in Inkster.
Yeah.
That's what he says. Is that right, Brian? Yeah.
Okay, so in '84 you win the Dinah Shore, which to you and I to this day will always be the Dinah Shore, and huge deal. You become the Rookie of the Year. Can you talk about that rookie year and what
Yeah,
that was like?
I mean, it was, I was going up against Pat Bradley, who was, Pat was an amazing player, but she was also super intimidating. If anybody knows Pat, she never knows anybody's name, so she just calls him Pro. And I was a rookie, and she was established, and I birdied the last hole to get in a playoff, and we go to the 15th hole at Mission Hills, and if anybody knows Mission Hills, it's like driving down, the 15th hole is like driving down a freeway. I mean, it's super narrow. And Pat she had to go first, and she kind of hit like a low liner, kind of almost out of bounds, but it hits the fence and bounces out. And I had driver out, and I knew in my mind I should hit 3-wood, but I was so nervous that I couldn't go back and get it. So I hit driver, and I actually hit it down the middle. Pat hits an amazing shot just short, and I hit on, and Pat ends up making bogey, and I made par to win my first major. And to have Dinah Shore there she was just an amazing lady, and I was 24 there, and Dinah Shore was probably in her
60s.
Super young, yeah, super young, but I mean, it was just such an honor to get to meet her and to represent her and win my first major.
And we loved Dinah, and I know there's a few people here who are in the generation that would have loved Dinah Shore. Yeah. Everything you thought she was on TV, she really was in person.
Yes, yes.
So you continue to win.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1990 and then 1994, you have those two beautiful girls, Haley and Corey.
Yes, and I didn't win. I won.
But you didn't win.
But I didn't win.
All right, so in short order, tell them a little bit about traveling with your two babies.
Well, I had Haley in 1990, and at that point, we didn't have any maternity leave or any daycare. We had kinder care, which was Monday through Friday. I'm not sure that's going to work for a golfer. You're not going to make much money if you just have Monday through Friday. So I actually started traveling with Haley 6 weeks after I had her. And I was just trying to figure out how to be a mom and how to play golf and I guess how to be a wife, but I know Brian didn't think that was doing very good at that either. But it was hard. It was really hard. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she was like Mrs. Cleaver. She had the cookies and the milk when you got home from school, and Haley's sleeping in the bathroom, in a closet, in a drawer, and I just know she's going to turn out to be psycho. My mom and dad traveled with me, and then Brian's mom traveled with me, so they kind of alternated, and it was a can I say shit show? It was a shit show.
So as I said, I was a generation before her raising a little boy. And we have had some times with kids on the tour, but I am happy to report that all three of our children, mine and hers, they're well adjusted and they're good citizens, and they're glad for what they got to do.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, looking back on it, it was probably one of the hardest things I did. I mean, Brian was great. Brian was a great dad. When I was gone, our thing was never to be away from each other more than 10 days, and also never be away from the kids more than 10 days. And his club was great on letting him come out, but his vacations was in Rochester, or his vacation was in Virginia, or because he would fly the kids out, and then, or I'd have the kids and he'd fly them home. It worked, and it was all about stability for the kids. They went to a Catholic school, and they were super good about letting my kids go with me because they thought that was a better education than the A, B's, and C's. But it was incredible for my kids to be able to see what I did. It was really different from any of their friends' moms, but it was still my job. And I think they both have super good work ethics. They're super successful. They're great kids, and we have a really close-knit family, which I wouldn't trade for anything.
So I had a little talk with Haley that you didn't know about. Corey's here tonight. Haley is the oldest daughter, and Haley told me that her mom was the world's greatest mom, and that her mom had a way of being there even when she wasn't there. That she was on the phone all the time, and they just always knew she was available. And she said one of the great things about her mom, or what she considers one of the great things about her mom, is the kind of role model she's been, raising children and being such a loving mother, and being so successful at what she did and what she did very well. And Haley, and I know Corey feels exactly the same way, they call Julie Inkster their best friend.
Yeah, I'm super lucky. Super lucky. I got 2 great son-in-laws. It's all good.
All right, we have about 7 minutes to finish your life.
Okay, wow, okay, let's go.
All right. Solheim Cups come to be. I was lucky. I captained the Solheim Cup twice. Julie was on my second Solheim Cup team. We had a pretty spectacular time. So before you were captaining, quickly tell them the story of my pairing you with Dottie Pepper in the first tee at Muirfield Village.
Yeah, you guys got to know Dottie. She is a spitfire, and she does a great job on CBS. I think she does an amazing job commentating. But Dottie and I, we always played a great alternate shot together. She was super intense, and I was intense, but I was more of kind of a laid-back intense. So Judy puts us out first at Muirfield Village, Jack's Club. We've never seen so many people line up the first fairway in our life. And we're playing against Laura Davies and Trish Johnson. And Laura crushes the ball. And so Dottie's hitting odds. So it's her and Laura are hitting odds. So Dottie gets up and hits it, right down the middle. Laura gets up and just pounds the ball. I mean, got to be 50 yards past Dottie. And so we're walking up there, and Dottie's just walking up there and gets to the ball. And I'm looking up where Trish Johnson is. It's like at the exit sign up there. And I go, did you hit this thing with the head cover on or what? And she goes, what do you mean? Just get the ball on the green. Just get the ball on the green. We'll win this hole. I'm like, okay. But it kind of loosened her up, and we ended up winning the match. But oh my God, it was classic.
They won that hole too.
Yeah, we did win.
Yeah. Okay, so when you were captain, she was captain 3 times, which is a record. She won 2 of those 3 times. You have to tell these stories in rapid succession.
Okay.
Okay? Another time was she has Lexi Thompson out on Sunday, a singles match. And Lexi's been playing pretty well this particular week, but she tees off on the front 9 playing
Anna Nordquist.
And Lexi Thompson plays like she never had a club in her hand before. I mean, she played 4 or 5 of the worst golf holes I was calling the golf that you've ever seen. And all of a sudden on the 5th hole.
Fourth hole.
Fourth hole. She walks down the fairway with Lexi, and she has her arm around her and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, Lexi Thompson became a new person. What was the conversation?
Pull your head out of your... Lexi wanted it. Well, Lexi didn't want to hug. She didn't want me to say, hey, good job, you're doing great. She wanted me, I went up there, I said, Lexi, you're my best player. You're my top player. You're my top point getter. I've seen you make 6 birdies in a row like nothing. I said, just shut it off. I said, do you want to lose to Anna Norquist? For the rest of your life, you're going to have to look at her and say you lost. I go, I wouldn't want to do that.
I also know that she told Lexi Thompson, quit having this fear of failure.
Yeah.
Go win.
Yeah.
Go win.
Said, don't be afraid of losing.
She played golf like you cannot imagine the rest of the way in.
It was the greatest match ever, and Anna Norquist on 18 hit it like this for them to tie. And, I think they were both like 8 under par. I mean, it was incredible.
So she captains in Germany the first time, they win. She captains in Des Moines the second time, they win. And she captains in Scotland the third time, and they lose on the very last putt of the matches. But every time Julie was involved, and her main assistant captain was always her good friend of mine, Pat Hurst. So, but one thing I know about Julie is she is not a big fan of confrontation. If it comes to a big confrontation, she'll just say, "You guys."
I'm Switzerland.
Yeah.
I'm Switzerland.
You guys go ahead, and
Yeah.
I'll be over there.
Yeah.
Okay. But there was a time in the Solheim Cup that it was not the case, and I believe that was in Germany. And what happened? We don't need to name names. But what happened was there was a player who had called another player on a ridiculous thing, and it really was wrong. And an assistant captain was Annika Sorenstam.
I thought we weren't going to name names.
Well, she didn't have anything to do with the ruling.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but she's an assistant captain, and I'm calling golf again, and this is a little dicey. So all of a sudden, before the afternoon matches start, Julie and Annika Sorenstam are walking down the first fairway about 40 yards. And there is this conversation going on out there, and Miss doesn't like confrontation, confronted Annika Sorenstam with this thing. And I'm going to finish this, and then you can add.
Okay.
So now in our television role, Kay Cockrell is out there on the fairway, and we're telling Kay, get a hold of Julie, find out what was said, and so on. So Kay gets Julie and says, now I know that was a little heated between you and Annika about what happened, at the in the morning match. And Julie said, no, it wasn't really heated. I just invited her for Thanksgiving, and she can't come. Now, if you want to follow up, we have 2 more minutes.
No, and she didn't come. She didn't come to Thanksgiving. No. Let's move on.
Okay. All right. There's a company you're involved with that's really helped you to do something that's very important to you,
Yes.
and these people will appreciate Workday.
Workday, yeah. So, and I'm going to be brief, but it's a huge passion of mine. The LPGA qualifying school is always in the fall of October, November. And the LPGA said, as a collegiate amateur, you can go to the qualifying school. And if you qualify, you can start the tour in January, the calendar year. Well, as a college coach, you've invested, and your teammates have invested 3.5 years in your education, your teammates, and your school. And you could be the 4th or 5th player on your team and really have a chance at a national championship. And then your number 1 and 2 player go to the qualifying school and they make it and they leave. So Workday and I started this award. It's called the Inkster Senior Award. And it's for the highest ranking senior that spends 4 years in college and represents their school, their coach, and their teammates. And what we do is we give them $50,000 to start their LPGA journey. They get an invite to an LPGA event, and then I spend 2 days with them just kind of mentoring them. And I get to know them. And so this is my 4th year. I have one that was in COVID and decided to go to be a doctor. So she's in medical school, and she took that money and applied it to medical school. And then my other 2 were on the LPGA, and my 3rd one last year is on the Epson Tour and is doing great. But I'm super involved with them. I talk to them often. And, you know, going from college golf where everything's done for you, like when to travel, you know, what to wear, when to practice, when to work out, what to hit into a hole. I mean, the coach is right there. And then all of a sudden you go on the LPGA and you're all by yourself. You don't have that teammate, that coach, the support system. And so I like to be their support system. So it's been great. It's been, you know, I look forward to it every year. And I just hope to keep building it.
So thank you all so very much for coming and supporting Julie this evening. Julie, my best congratulations, and I'm so happy.
Thank you for coming in.
For the Jack and Carol Simpson Scholarship Award.
Yes.
That will mean a lot to your mom and would have meant a lot to your dad and your girls as life goes on. And oh, I have an announcement. And your grandchild that's coming this year.
Yeah.
It will mean a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I just want to thank you all. This has been overwhelming for me, just seeing the support the Ouimet Foundation has, and meeting the great-great-granddaughter of Francis Ouimet, and just Colin McGuire, thank you. Dick, thank you so much. It's been, as you get older, you know, golf is something I just fell into, but the memories I have, and as you get older, you know, receiving these awards is maybe you look back and say, you know, well, maybe we did this right. And I can't thank you enough for your support and for honoring me this. Walshy, thank you so much for introducing me and for not telling them the real stories about us. But it's been a great evening, and to have my husband Brian here and my daughter, my son-in-law here, it means the world to me. So keep doing what you're doing. If there's any way I can help, I'd be more than happy to help. So thank you.
Thank you.